Say somebody wanted to feel bad and stay feeling bad. What 10 things could they do? Okay, what if they only felt willing to do 5? 3? Okay, fine. What if the person only had to choose one thing to make themselves miserable? Hi, I'm Dr. Trevor Kashey. I have a PhD in biochemistry and founded Trevor Kashey Nutrition, a skill-focused company to help you lose weight, feel great, and get healthier. Giving useful tips about health and nutrition really does have a long tradition, right? You start with the small things, and then you build up to the big thing. And in the name of going against the grain, let's spoil the ending. If a person only intended to change one simple thing to make their lives more miserable, well, the problem solves itself pretty much. They'd cut out exercise. So let's consider those living in developed countries. Does this advice, although it sounds simple, does it even make sense anymore? Could anyone even follow it? The regular American's activity looks about as low as it can get already. At least some of us keep it just above the level of catatonic, okay? We can get some perspective on all this by looking through the lifespan. So let's start with infants. They get stuffed into backpacks and shoved into armpits. Babies suck at walking, and now you know why. Nobody lets them, okay? What about toddlers? Toddlers whine until parents carry them. They get jammed into shopping carts and strollers. And at about this time, parents introduce ye olde electronic babysitters. What about going out through the teen years? Well, you throw them in front of phones and tablets. Banned from playing outside. Do they even want to play outside anyway? They complain of cramps and sun exposure when asked to take out the trash. Some teenagers, they do live close enough to walk or bike to school. And with enough luck, most of them avoid any movement at all by taking the bus or getting chauffeured. Now we can transition into adulthood. They start pausing. Adults start pausing to catch their breath or use things to balance for basic tasks. They get their food delivered. They also start adding regular consumption of alcohol into the equation. Note, maximizing weight gain helps minimize activity as well. So keep that if you're looking for some bonus points. Now rounding this out into maturity, what used to feel like a game of getting the closest parking spot to the donut shop now feels like a necessity, even if they could have spent less time if they parked further away and walked. Bonus points for that too. They develop more legitimate movement issues as well. Autoimmune diseases flare more, intense joint problems, mother musculoskeletal pains. Daily tasks like putting on socks start to take a real effort and add bonus points again if body weight continues climbing throughout the years. Low fitness really does account for a great deal of sort of background, always there misery. For real though, it sucked for ancestral humans to sprint away from scary stuff like birds. Yeah. But they also got more accidental workouts, okay? Even so, if you move enough to set off a motion detector, then you've got room to reduce your activity, so keep that in mind. Sadistic scientists obsessed with sad people, they looked at this problem from many angles, and the angles point to physical fitness and mood having a strong correlation with each other. Excellent research to make life extra awful, by the way. Say that 5 times fast. Good grief. Look this stuff up if you want to make sure you can make your life as miserable as possible. So typical results will show, for one group, higher physical fitness having higher relative mood scores. And for the second group, lower physical fitness having lower relative mood scores. And this follows with depressed people too. So if you take normal people who move a little bit more, they feel a little bit better. And normal people who move a little bit less, they feel a little bit worse. So now we take clinically relevant people, depressed people with a diagnosis of depression, they tend to move less than their happier counterparts. If they do manage to move around, well then they move around at a lower intensity and just kind of like an Eeyore, And some will see the immediate flaw here. Okay, do miserable people move less, or does moving less cause misery? And putting on our scientist caps, I think we can answer yes. You got taught to sit still and do nothing the time you learned to speak. Even before you learned to speak, you got taught to sit down and shut up. Oi. In addition, if something happens leading to a bad mood, it does prompt withdrawal, right? We isolate ourselves from the stressors to feel better. And this rewards us for hiding away, insulating ourselves. And this also exposes us to more sitting, screen time, chronic snacking, etc., which also rewards us for isolating ourselves and staying sedentary. This makes avoidance a potent ingredient in the misery cocktail, so pay attention. Avoidance makes things super potent to induce misery. Avoid stuff, move less, and you'll start feeling more tired, and blah makes it much easier to move less, which makes you feel more blah. Works out pretty good. But But wait, there's more. Take an already active group of happy people and then chop their activity levels down. Within 2 weeks, sometimes less, the fatigue and negative mood start creeping in. And you can also take a group of depressives and split them into 2 groups. Group 1, 3 bouts of activity 3 times per week for a total of 90 minutes per week, check mark. Group 2, do nothing. Just do your same old depressed stuff. And guess what? On average, the active groups lost more misery. Ew, a bad idea if you want to make yourself more miserable. So their sedentary comrades did a much better job at conserving their misery. And it turns out, when it comes to mood, activity does as good of a job or better than therapists and pharmaceuticals. So jumpstart your progress toward misery by rewarding a few cycles of activity avoidance. It even works on accident, okay? So don't worry, it doesn't take much skill. It happens all on its own. So get this down and it'll perpetuate itself and give you a tremendous head start towards depression. If you think you'll find it difficult to get stuck in the loop of feeling bad and avoiding activity because you feel bad, making you move even less, well then modern civilization comes to the rescue. In previous eras, the humans all exercised on accident. To get anywhere or do anything, you'd have to run, walk, climb, sprint, dig, chop, etc. Even the most basic task to get anywhere or do anything, you'd have to walk, run, climb, sprint, dig, chop, etc. Even the most basic tasks took lots of moving and some amount of manual labor. And today's culture demonizes physical activity. It really does. It looks like as if it even incurs efficiency costs. It gets looked down upon as a lower class thing. It even gets labeled as a straight up hassle. We use the human forklifts called elevators when we do move anything with heft as a result of daily living. Wait, when do we do that? Ever? Do we? How often do we have to walk more than a block? Today, people wanting to get fitter think they need to drive to a business dedicated to fitness. They wear special clothes and they flop around on machines emulating the stuff they'd actually do if they had fun outside. Although, if you partake in the esteemed adventures of staying up late glued to a screen, you know the optionality of gym equipment. Indeed, you can buy one of those home exercise garbage things specifically engineered for you to hide it. They say they do it for your convenience, but when they started doing that, it actually made their refund rates plummet. Interesting trinket. Trivia, nugget. If you happen to get a piece too bulky to hide, then all is not lost, okay? Use it to hang clothes as soon as possible, and then it will dim any desire to use it. Remember, we have the goal of making life as miserable as possible, and we only have one way to make it happen. Exercise can only make your whole life worse when you avoid all reasonable forms of it. Recall the studies we spoke about a few minutes ago. We learned physical activity raises your risk for the serious and clinically relevant condition researchers called feeling better. Bad news if you want to pick one simple thing to make your life more miserable, okay? Even worse, activity beyond that 30 minutes 3 times per week makes the serious condition of feeling better even worse. You can't let getting too active interfere with your goal of maximizing misery. It takes more than letting your gym membership expire. It takes diligence. So follow Dr. Kashey's scientifically engineered misery-inducing formula. Step number 1, spend at least twice as much time sitting as you do moving. And step number 2, spend as much time or more laying down as you do sitting. And step 3, just watch the misery pour in. Just watch it start pouring in as little as 2 weeks or less. So drive or get driven whenever possible. Even if walking or biking would get you there faster. Get a pedometer and take some measurements. Aim to take less than 1,000 steps a day. Make sure your work and hobbies keep you sedentary. Working at a desk, playing video games, couch surfing, amazing sport to maximize misery, couch surfing, binge watching, all these look like viable options. The miserable heart gets fragile. You must never let it pump blood to working muscles or it will get stronger, okay? Best of luck. If you enjoyed this video, hit the subscribe and notification bell so you know when more videos come out. And I've got more videos to watch here. See you next time.